Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at r/am I the bort hole. So if you would like to stick around and judge some big old gaping bort holes with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay then, first post by Try Original 5477. Am I the bort hole for telling my sister I don't have the looks to sleep my way to the top after she called me a DEI hire? I had a traumatic brain injury as a child. It left me with some physical impairments as well as slurred speech. My sister has always thought I used my condition to get extra attention from our parents and at school. My sister married her boss. I believe they did everything right. Before anything started, they went to their company HR and she was transferred to a different office. He had no direct control over her employment. I have worked for my dad since I got out of university. It works for me because I didn't have to interview and I can have lunch with my boss sometimes. At work, we have a professional relationship and I don't take advantage. I was recently headhunted by a company my dad does business with. They were impressed with the level of work that was coming out of our shop. I talked to my dad about it and he said he would be sad to see me go, but the next step up at his company was his job and he wasn't going anywhere. So I had his blessing. Oh, I'm really glad that dad wasn't butthurt about it and was just like, yeah, I don't want you to leave, but I totally get it. Go for it. I accepted the job and my dad threw me a going away party. All of the employees were invited and family and friends. My sister was there with her family. It was a great time until she decided to pipe up that my accident had helped me get ahead again. What the hell? Seriously, what the hell? And honestly, that is a dangerous insult to throw around when, you could easily retort back yeah, well, you slept with your boss to get ahead, so... Come on now. If we're going to make rude, shitty comments, at least make sure your track record is squeaky clean and there's nothing they could then throw back at you. At least. That I was a DEI hire and only got the job because I checked off so many spots in the checklist. I always knew how she felt about mum and dad giving me so much of their time after the accident, but they never ignored her. She got extracurriculars. They went to most of her events at school. They helped pay for her education. I fully acknowledge that there is more to parenting, but from my point of view, they did their best. I just didn't realise that she still thought I got special treatment because of my condition. No company that I know of would hire me for the job I got if I wasn't good at it. Exactly, the OP was literally headhunted because of their quality of work. It was nothing to do with anything else other than the fact that they were doing well at work. They could be throwing money away. I was furious that she would say this in public. If she had said it privately, we could have talked it out, but she wanted public. So I said what I said. Her husband's face went red and she was speechless. Her kids looked confused. I felt bad when I saw my niece's reaction to what I said. My sister and her family left the party. My dad came over and said that I should have taken the high road and that she was very sensitive about her relationship still. Well, in that case, if you are sensitive about your relationship and what that means around your work, again, perhaps don't go throwing insults about other people's work and how they got their job. I honestly feel bad about what I said. It wasn't fair and it wasn't true. She hasn't called me or accepted any of my calls from me in over a week. Yeah, now obviously I understand an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Yes, of course. However, I just think that this was such an idiotic move from the sister. You just can't go throwing around those insults when you literally could argue that she may have had a leg up in her company because of her position, with her husband. What a ridiculous thing. And I just feel the sister was being bitchy and salty anyway. Don't give it if you cannot take it. So, down in the comments, Groovy Yaya says if Dad didn't immediately say sister and react verbally in shock, he lost the opportunity to have it handled in a way that he thought it should be handled. She said it in front of former work colleagues and potentially those your new boss could have communication with. If he didn't deal with her jealousy and hang-ups as a teen like he should have, she wouldn't have been empowered to make such a comment. And that's the thing. I know the OP was like, oh, well, I'm pretty certain my parents tried to treat her fairly and maybe she feels salty because of the extra attention I got from having the accident, but that's not the OP's fault. That's the parents. If the parents didn't divide the attention equally and make sure the sister felt just as important, again, it still shouldn't be on the OP to take that flack, you know? So then original Ganesh 8354 says, Abigail, you apologise to your sister now or you'll have to leave, I'm afraid. As in basically saying that's what the dad should have said. And then Nat G says, honestly, he should have asked her to leave immediately. They were at a party to celebrate OP's tenure and success at his company. Treating the interaction like a childhood spat instead of a pointed professional insult wouldn't do the OP any favours. Exactly. What a ridiculous thing to do on the sister's behalf, honestly. So I'm just editing this now and something occurred to me that perhaps the dad didn't really tell the sister off. I know that she's an adult now, but, you know, didn't say anything when the sister said that because maybe the dad holds either some very conscious or even some subconscious guilt for perhaps feeling like maybe he did put the sister behind the OP and the OP got a bit more attention because of their injury. Maybe there is a bit of guilt about that. And obviously, if the sister felt like that, I would completely understand because I completely understand the premise of, the glass child in a household where one kid is incredibly poorly and the other kid feels like they kind of are invisible because of that. However, that still doesn't excuse the way the sister treated the OP. If the sister felt like that and felt like there was that inequality growing up, she needs to take it up with her parents, not be nasty and ableist towards the OP, Next post, posted by Opposite Afternoon 55. Am I the butthole for understanding and not freezing out my dad for leaving our mum over a dead bedroom? That is almost immediately concerning that you know that that's the reason when it's your parents. Oh, I would rather my parents give me any other excuse for why they were breaking up than tell me that their bedroom is, flaccid. This is a weird post to make because honestly, it's weird to know such details about my parents, yes, but such is life, so here goes. My 27M parents have recently announced that they're in divorce proceedings. I was a surprise, so they are still pretty young, both in their late 40s. I have a younger sister who is 24 and recently married and freaking out. Apparently, my dad is leaving my mum because for the last 3 years, they basically never had sex. She would have no interest, and I guess it went from once every couple months to in the last year, she straight up told him she's just not interested in sex anymore. He asked for an open marriage, and she took that as a sign he would cheat and filed for divorce. It sucks, but I get it from both sides. I'm not really trying to get in the middle of it, to be honest. I've always gotten along fine with both of them, but my dad and I have always been super close. Just way more in common and the more involved parent growing up. So while it sucks they're split, I just want to continue to have a separate relationship with both of them. Yeah, it seems pretty fair that the dad would be like, I need this from a relationship, and the OP's mum is like, I don't need this from a relationship, and that has now caused them to go their separate ways. The dad asking for an open relationship, I mean, maybe he was just trying to find a way around it because it sounds like it's not been something there before. The wife had already said, look, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be intimate with you. And the dad's like, I need that. Genuinely, I don't think anyone's at fault here. It just seems they've become incompatible. And intimacy is really important to some people. My sister has taken a different approach and hates my dad right now. She thinks he's being a total a-hole and just saying a lot of mean things about him. I'm trying to stay out of that and just let her heal how she needs to. I recently had my dad over for dinner with my wife and our 2 young kids. He's doing well and has already started dating someone, and I'm honestly happy for him. He's still young and I don't think he should be alone forever since it didn't work out with my mum. I guess my dad posted to his story a picture of him with his grandkids to his Facebook, so my sister and mum saw it and are mad at me for still being so tight with him. My sister is calling him a cheater and saying I'm taking the cheater's side, and my mum is saying similar stuff. I feel like I'm just being an adult about the situation though. Yeah, I understand where the mum might be salty and hurt. I understand why the sister might be salty and hurt because obviously, parents splitting up and whatever, but let's be realistic. There is no evidence the dad cheated. He was just obviously trying to find a workaround. Do I think asking for an open relationship was a smart idea? Probably not. If the mum had never given in any indication that would be good. But I imagine that was the dad's maybe ill-fated way of trying to find a way for them to stay together when he knew that he needed intimacy out of a relationship. And at the end of the day, even if the dad had gone and done something he shouldn't have, I think it's very wrong on the mum's part to be expecting the OP to take sides. I would probably understand the sister expecting someone to take sides, but when it comes to expecting your children to take sides for you, that's not right. You should never try and pit your kids against the other parent. That is not something a parent should ever do, no matter if the children are adults. It's not right. Anyway, I don't know. Am I really in the wrong here? My wife says she can see where my sister is coming from, but thinks I'm being more logical about it. Wanted to get some neutral perspectives. So, down in the comments, Swaggyboy1991 says, "Not the butthole, and it's inappropriate of your mum to try and get her own kid to side against his dad." Thank you very much. Yes, exactly. On an issue that doesn't concern him. Exactly. I get it coming from the sister. She's obviously very upset that her parents are divorcing and is struggling to cope with that and is lashing out. The mum is hella wrong for that though. Honestly, that's not okay. Next post posted by AwkwardBlueJay5850. Am I the butthole for replacing everything my wife loses when she organises against my will? My wife and I each have separate rooms in our house. Nothing weird, no locks on the doors. They are just our private areas. Honestly, if I ever was to get in a relationship and move in with someone or get married or whatever, I would need that. I would need my own bedroom, like separate rooms, please, and we'll meet in the middle sometimes. I think it's such a good idea when couples do this. I think it's honestly quite important to have your own space that is yours. We also have areas of responsibility. She has the kitchen and I have the garage. That means that when I use the kitchen to cook and when I clean up, I return it to the order that she has determined is best. When she uses the garage for some project, all my tools get put back where they belong and she cleans up after herself. The problem is that she is a neat freak. She cannot stand clutter. I, on the other hand, have no problem putting my purchases in my room to deal with later. Whether it's toys or computer parts, I will leave them in the corner until I get to them. My personal mess does not pass the threshold of my door. Now, do you know what? If it's messy or cluttered in their own personal space, as long as it's not dirty and it's just that they're leaving packages till they can be bothered to get to them, so be it. That's their personal space to do with what they will. My wife sees this as a personal insult. She will go into my area and organise, and then she will forget where she put my stuff. Yeah, no, that's a big old hell no for me. I would be infuriated. I can already feel that I am on the OP side here, and I'm someone who hates clutter, by the way. Absolutely despise it. But yeah, no. I also like to have things where they are, even if it doesn't make sense to other people. So, I've started replacing whatever it is she loses. For example, I like to wear black Carhartt coveralls when I'm working in the garage or riding my motorcycle. Not sure coveralls are a safe option for motorcycle riding. Get some good leathers, please. My goodness, lest you end up with no butt skin. So, if I spot some on sale, I will buy them and put them in the closet until I wear out the ones I'm currently using. She decided that coveralls don't belong folded in the closet. What? So they're even in a closet and she still can't help herself. Oh, that would drive me wild. Stay out of my stuff. I finally... I'm only laughing because of what I just said about losing the butt skin. I finally wore the ass out of the ones I was using. I went into my closet and the spare set was missing. I asked her where they went and she couldn't remember. She looked through all the closets and the laundry room and she couldn't find them. So I went and bought new ones out of our fun budget. Now she is upset because she eventually found the other pair in with all the Christmas gifts. She buys Christmas gifts all year long whenever she finds a good sale on something. Honestly, solid tactic, to be fair. She thinks I could have been more patient. I think she should stay out of my room, or at the very least not take things out of the room without making a note of where she moved them. I was just having an image then where OP says, I think she should stay out of my room, of OP like having almost like a teenage tantrum, slamming the door like, stay out of my room, Mum! They need to make a little handwritten sign like, no girls, keep out. Honestly though, yeah, no, I'm on the OP side on this. They literally have their own rooms for a reason so that they can do what they will with it, and she's sticking her nose in. Like, she wouldn't like it if OP went into her space, I am certain, and started moving things around to the way that they like it. So she needs to learn to respect the OP's personal space. And, you know, I understand that there's going to be comments, I'm sure, in the comment thread under this that are like, oh, maybe she has OCD or something like that, blah, blah, blah. And I understand, but it still doesn't make it okay to go into someone else's space and someone else's personal belongings and start moving around. It doesn't. It's not okay. So, down in the comments, Zombie Zookeeper says, reminds me of the firefighter who kept his shoes unlaced for fast response, and his wife kept lacing them up because they looked untidy. Edit, here's the borrow from back when borrow wasn't run by 3 alt accounts. Okay, so I am definitely gonna have to take a look at that one. I'm not sure what it means by 3 alt accounts though. And then edit 2, my bad, EMT, not firefighter. We will definitely take a look at that thread at some point. That sounds rather interesting. Okay, last post for the day, posted by African Hornet. Told neighbour that if my kid can't play at hers, her kid can't play at ours. Am I the bort hole? Some context. Our girls are 4, born 5 days apart. They live 3 doors down, townhouse complex. For the last couple of months, and especially the last couple of weeks, her daughter has been coming to ours to play with my daughter. No problem. However, when they leave ours to go there, they're always sent back within 5 minutes. She's a single mum, but her mum and family friend help look after her kid when she's at work. They have both told me that my kid isn't allowed over there because mum doesn't want to clean up the mess. Last night, her kid came over again, and instead of coming to get her own kid, she texted me and said to send her home. This happens more frequently than it should. Yeah, 4-year-olds, it was 4-year-old, right? No, 5-year-old. Yeah, 4-year-old. 4-year-olds shouldn't be walking down the street on their own. That's just the way I see it. No, that even if it is only down the street, no. This happens more frequently than it should. I told her that while I'm okay with her kid at ours, this needs to be an equal load share. She says that she wished I would have spoken to her. I tried, and that she's a single mum and doesn't have any help. My partner and I are together, yes, but we are pretty much in the same boat as her. We don't have any help. Our closest relative is a 10-hour drive away. I told her that her kid isn't allowed at ours if mine isn't allowed at hers. Am I the bort hole? See, I will probably have a different opinion than everyone else on this. I feel like OP kind of is a little bit. And I'll tell you for why. See, I don't think they're a major butthole, but I think at the end of the day, not everyone is comfortable with having other people's kids playing at their house. It's the way it is. And if you are wanting to let other kids come and play at yours, that's your choice, but you can't expect that everyone else is going to be comfortable with that, you know? If it was me, I would be like, okay, your kid can keep coming to mine and they can play at mine if I was happy with that situation. I don't think that you can just be like, yeah, my kid has to be able to play at yours if your kid wants to come to mine. So of course I'm editing, and I don't think I explained what I meant well at all here. So what I mean is, I don't think the OP is a butthole, but where I think they might be in the wrong is just kind of assuming that the OP's mum works exactly the same way as they do, and that it's either out of laziness or spitefulness to their kid. I don't know what they're thinking about, what the reasoning is, but clearly they feel hard done by that their kid can't go there. Personally, if it was me, I wouldn't particularly want my kid going somewhere where the parent doesn't want them anyway, because I'm probably going to feel like they're not going to watch them properly or look after them. But what I'm trying to say is, you don't know what is going on in someone else's world. This parent might be going through some mental health struggles or health struggles that make it very difficult to be keeping an eye on someone else's child, because that feels like an extra responsibility and an extra stress when it's someone else's kid. It feels very stressful to have them in your care and you be responsible for anything that may go wrong. So they just might not be able to cope with that at the time. So to kind of almost be like, well, you should be having my kid at yours because yours comes to mine. In my eyes, if I was letting someone's kid come to my house, but they didn't want my kid go to theirs, I'd be like, okay, well, that's on me because I'm allowing them to come to my house. I can't automatically expect the same the other way. But that's my perspective, of course. So I know that probably a lot of people will disagree with me on that and think it should be fair. But I think there is other factors that could be needing to be taken into account, you know? Anyway. Down in the comments, Internal Praline 658 says, man, you're not the butthole, but if you can find it in your heart to let her come over, you might make a huge difference in that kid's life. I was the neighbour kid, and I cannot tell you the relief and respite I felt at those houses. Lots of people didn't want me to come over. And then Silver Shroud says, not to mention it's probably a relief to have a kid to entertain your kid. I would get righteously irked at the imbalance of the neighbour never hosting my kid, but I also think my protective paranoia would be okay with it. I also think about how my mother wouldn't let anyone into the house because she was a hoarder. Not that this is the neighbour's situation, but generally if someone doesn't want kids in their house, then probably you shouldn't want your kid in their house either. Whether it be the condition or the supervision. F that. Okay, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Don't forget to leave the offering a comment for Big Al. What can I get you to leave a comment on today? I actually don't know, so just tell me something random, something you think is really interesting. How about that? Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye!